Podtacular episode 121, E3 behind closed doors for the week of July 23rd, 2007.
All right, gentlemen, let's get freaky!
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I'm Fumo Jive.
I'm JVB.
And this is Vicious696.
Welcome, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me back, man. It's such an honor to be on Podtacular.
Well, it's an
pretty
honor
good,
to have
man.
you aboard. Yeah, I know. Still good to go, but
Get the chopper.
you got to know when to go. Anyway, what was this singing country?
Wow, man. Got Alan Jackson over here. Whoever that is.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why we got you on here, Vicious, because you were at E3, and that's the only reason why we got you on.
I know.
No.
Otherwise, you are not worthy.
I know. I leave emails every week. Can I please come on, please?
I'll give you $2.
$2.
Yeah, but no, on a serious note, but you were give me my $2. And
$2.50.
you were at E3, and you had the honor of seeing Halo 3 single player behind closed doors. So,
Yes, I did, and
you are here to tell us all about it.
Yes, I am. It was wow. Where do I even begin? I guess
you can.
Where
Well,
am I?
before you begin, you could tell us what website you with.
Oh, I'm with Uncle Gamer Radio, which is a part of the GamerCast network, just so everybody knows.
Exactly.
And I was at E3 last week. I was there with the guys from GamerTag Radio. We hung out pretty much the entire time, and during the community party at the on Thursday night that Microsoft had, they were having some community speed interviews where we got to interview like 8 important people within the Microsoft like executive community, like Peter Moore, rest in peace, he's gone now, and
It's not like he's dead, man.
I know.
Goodbye, Peter Moore. We'll miss you forever.
No, but Frankie and Brian, Sketch were there as well, and initially they were 2 separate interviewees. But then Sketch got bumped for Aaron Greenberg, so he came. When I came over to interview with Frankie, he was sitting there, so I got to interview those guys for like 4 minutes. And then after all the interviews were done, Frankie and Brian were gracious enough to show all of us Halo 3 single player and the save film feature. So,
Can you tell us
Nice.
for those of us that don't know, can you tell us like what Frankie does, what Brian does, what Aaron does?
Isn't Aaron like their product manager, I believe, over for Xbox 360? Like whenever we come up with like a new gadget, like the HD DVD add-on, things with the Xbox Live Marketplace, I think he's over all that stuff. Frankie's obviously the community manager at Bungie Studios. And Brian, I don't know exactly what Brian does. I don't know what Sketch does at Bungie. Do you know?
If I'm
I
right,
think Brian is in. I don't know. I remember Chris Palladino telling me he might actually be Frankie's boss. So
Yeah, it's something community related, but yeah, it's above what Frankie does, so I'm not 100% sure.
Vicious, why don't you give us kind of a breakdown of how it went down with the Bungie demo and everything that went down there?
Okay, yeah, I'll just go ahead and jump into that. Like I was saying, Frankie and Brian, after their interviews, they went and reset the room up and, got the big screen TV and all that set up for the Halo 3 demo. Had us all sit down. Frankie grabbed the controller, explained to us, what we're about to see, is not final, blah, blah, blah. It actually did not have any music in it at all. That was another thing.
Interesting.
The level that we got to see was from the first act, basically, and it was about a third of the way in. And it was called Sierra 117. Obviously, they did it a third of the way in because they don't want to spoil anything with the story. So it basically picked up, it was like a rescue mission to go to rescue Sergeant Johnson. And it starts off in this jungle. I mean, first and foremost, the lighting effects, ridiculous. I mean, everything you guys have seen in the beta, just go ahead and double it as far as graphics go. I mean, it looked that good. It was awesome. I mean, when Frankie said in the last few updates that the graphics would be improved, he didn't lie. They're definitely improved.
Just to clarify, we're not going to be giving away any single-player campaign story information on this podcast, right?
Right. They didn't show us any anyway, so I couldn't do it even if I wanted to. But
right. Just making that clear.
Right. But like I said, it started off, it's called Sierra 117. You have the Master Chief with the Arbiter. He is there with you. And a detachment of Marines. And you're going into the jungle, and it almost starts off like a stealth mission because the grunts are asleep. And one of the Marines tells you to be quiet, and Frankie went up and he used the butt of the assault rifle, the melee attack, and he took out like 3 grunts right away, silently, without alerting anyone. Then obviously as they started to get in, some of the grunts saw him, they sounded the alarms, and and all hell broke loose. But the interesting thing that I noticed with the activity with the Covenant, you had some brute captains. And they always hung back. They never engaged you immediately. They hung back and kind of issued out orders to the jackals and the grunts. And they attacked you first. And then Frankie went and, he went and got noobified and grabbed the Covenant carbine, and he grabbed a plasma pistol, and he started taking them all out. But then as you go, you're going through that for a while. And when you attack a brute, if you knock off his armor, he kind of goes berserker, and he'll charge you. And at that point, you can take him out and kill him. One thing I found that was real impressive, just as far as the horsepower that the 360 is having on Halo 3, you get to this one clearing where, and this is where you kind of catch up to Sergeant Johnson, where you have this Pelican and it's under attack from these phantoms, and it's just like chaos going on. You got all these Covenant troops shooting, Phantom shooting, the Pelican shooting. Finally, the Pelican gets away, and you can actually down a Phantom now. You can destroy a Phantom like you've seen in the trailer. Yeah, I was loving that part of it. The snipers, Frankie was playing on heroic, by the way, so he easily could die, and that was the first thing he was saying, that he's not very good at it and he could die at any time. But a lot of snipers, positioned throughout the level, and he made the point to let us know that that's dynamic. They're not always in the same spot, so you can't die and then come right back. Okay, I know that Jackal's there with the sniper, and you can take him out. He might be in a completely different position this time.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
So now to backtrack a little bit, you were talking about the opening sequence, and you said it was almost stealth. Now, by stealth, did you have to did he have to walk slowly?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He was walking slow because the Marine tells you to be quiet. So you can't, because that's another thing. You're in a jungle. If you move, it's like you're crunching leaves and sticks and all that. So it makes noise. And especially the fact that they didn't have music, you could really hear all of that going on. And another thing, because there was no music, a lot of chatter from the Marines, from the grunts, from the brutes. Yeah. I mean, you could hear all kind of crazy lines going on. So that was really impressive too.
Yeah, I had put up a video of Frankie playing it, and they had the camera facing Frankie, but you hear all the audio.
Right.
And the chatter and stuff. Now, the Arbiter, okay, he's by your side. Now, did you notice an improvement in the AI? How was the Arbiter?
That was another thing. Yeah, the Arbiter, the AI seemed pretty strong with the Arbiter in the sense that he wasn't like Dum from Gears of War. He actually could fight, and he would move, and he would get behind cover and recharge his shields, and he would bark out a lot of things to you as you progress through the level. Like, it'd be like, did he call him Demon? I can't remember if he didn't call him Demon. The grunts were calling him Demon, but he said whatever to the Master Chief, and he would tell him, "Oh, look out ahead, this coming up, this, that, and the other." So he was almost like a guide to you. So that was really good.
So he's kind of taking Cortana's place as being the Master Chief's guy.
I was just thinking
Yeah, that's a perfect example. He's almost like replacing Cortana in a way. Now, another interesting thing with the brutes, like we've seen some of the vid docs and in the trailer, you see the brutes, they'll grab the Marines or like the civilians, and they're holding them over their head and throwing them and doing all that stuff. Well, there's one scene where you see one of the brute captains, he has a Marine over his head, and he's about to chuck him over a cliff.
Oh, wow.
And that, you can actually stop him from doing that. When we saw it, Frankie stopped him from chucking the Marine over the cliff. But he was saying in other demonstrations that they've done, he didn't get there in time, and he'll throw the Marine over the cliff. So I thought that was pretty cool, too.
Now, this is a cutscene, or is it a part of the gameplay?
Yeah, this is part of gameplay. This is strictly in-game. Like,
so because you fighting and everything?
Oh, yeah, it's like, it's chaos going on, and you come to this clearing, and you see one of the brute captains, he has the guy over his head about to chuck him. And if you shoot him, he'll drop him, but if you don't shoot him, he'll throw him over the cliff.
Wow.
So on a scale, comparing Gears of War to Halo 3, as far as scale is concerned, how big of a scale would you say Halo is compared to Gears? I mean, everyone, as soon as the single-player trailer came out, people, of course, were comparing it, graphically to Gears. And, of course, we all know that Gears is, close combat, everything's closed, closed quarters. So how huge was it? Like you said, there was a lot going on. I mean, how far in the distance were things going on?
See, and that was going to be the thing that I was going to bring up. Where Gears, everything was kind of close quarters, in hallways, and there were never too many enemies on the screen. I would say, especially when the Phantoms and the Pelicans, and you had all the grunts and the brutes in that clearing, there easily had to have been about 15 Covenant fighting, along with 2 Phantoms and a Pelican, all in that same area going on. So, I mean, and there was no slowdown at all. I mean, it was still running smooth. It looked great. And that's the other thing with that level, it was in the daytime in the jungle. And like I said, the lighting effects were so impressive that in some ways it surpassed Gears of War, but I would say overall they're probably comparable graphic-wise. But Halo 3 seems to be on a lot bigger scale.
Yeah. And as of course, we talked about that on the last show where, people were, of course, jumping all over, the visuals. And I mean, you witnessed it. There's a lot more to it, because of how big the game is.
See, and that's one thing, and I think I've heard on some other podcasts they've kind of touched on it too. Halo 3 is a subtle beauty. Because they kept it, it looks like Halo. They didn't try and juice it up and make it look all shiny and plasticky. It looks like Halo. Yeah. If you look at Halo 3, you can still compare it to Halo 2 or the original Halo. But it's the subtle stuff. Like I said, you got more characters on the screen, all the crazy lighting that's going on. I mean, you know how Frankie always talks about the water? I mean, the water is just, it's stupid, but it's like pretty water. It's like really pretty, you know what I mean? So it's just things like that. And obviously the weapons, they see, when Marty O'Donnell's a genius when it comes to all the audio. So, I mean, he really seems to have all that nailed, at this point. So, yeah, I mean, everyone had their jaw on the ground watching it. I don't think anyone walked away from it unimpressed when they saw it.
So let's go back a little bit to, I guess, the previous night, the first night of E3. As a matter of fact, it was the night before E3 where Microsoft did their press briefing, or what do you call it. There were 2 different videos aimed towards Halo 3. There was the Halo 3 Arms Race trailer.
Right.
And, of course, the single-player trailer in the end. Now, tell us about some of the reactions for Arms Race when it just popped up and they told you nothing about what you were watching.
You know what? I think our section of the press briefing isn't fair to judge. But, I mean, I would say everyone kind of was like, oh, wow, this, if the movie's like this, they could be onto something. I would say that was the general consensus that I heard. As far as the trailer itself, a lot, and this was like when I got to interview Frankie, this was the very first question I asked him. A lot of people were negative towards the trailer, and I was surprised by that because I quite enjoyed the trailer. They just thought the cuts were too fast. They weren't really showing you anything. And Frankie's response to that was they did it in a way that they didn't want to spoil anything, obviously, what you saw. And they knew that they were going to be showing people the game during E3 and it would stand up on its own, which is true. And see, that's the unfortunate thing. The fact that it was behind closed doors, you guys didn't get to see what I saw. So the only thing you can go by is that trailer. And trust me, everybody listening, it's a lot more impressive than what we saw in the trailer. What I saw real time Halo 3, I was like, wow. I was like, wow, this is gonna be crazy. That's all I could think of.
You called me like,
yeah, I know. I called you like a little schoolgirl, like, oh my god, I just saw Halo 3.
You're like, I saw it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, dude, I wish I didn't see it. That's all I think about.
But I will say, it's just as far as they didn't show us anything new. Everything that was in that level, weapons, enemies, was something we'd already saw. Like I said, the only thing that surprised me was the fact that we can take down a Phantom. And I was like, oh wow, because I think, did he use a rocket launcher? I forget what he used, but whatever it was, he took the Phantom down. You don't just take off the guns anymore and he flies away. You can actually destroy the Phantom now. So I was like, that's nice. Real impressive. And all the explosion effects and all that stuff's just taking it to another level. Really liked it.
Awesome. So, all right. So you talked about, the lighting and some of the AI, a lot of the little subtle visuals that impressed you. Now, another thing that people have been very interested in is weapons. Did you see anything new?
Yeah, that's what I mean. No new weapons. It was weapons that we either saw in the beta or just the standard Halo weapons. Nothing, we didn't, just nothing new. Not in the campaign. I mean, when we get into the multiplayer, I'll bring up one thing, but nothing new that they showed in the campaign.
All right, well, why don't we just move on to that, because it sounds like we got a pretty good taste of how the campaign's going to work out with the Arbiter by your side, kind of replacing Cortana, with the massive battles, with the improved graphics, with the improved AI. A lot of good things to look forward to there, and definitely the story that's going to unfold as we play, which, I'm really excited to kind of hear the finale to the Halo story.
Right.
And, have a lot of questions answered in the way that kind of, for those of you that followed the Matrix series when that was out, that was like hot stuff in the day, back when Matrix 2, between Matrix 2 and 3, it was like everybody was buzzing about, how is it going to, what's going to happen? How's it going to, end up?
Yeah.
And then, Matrix 3 really disappointed pretty much everybody. And I was a huge Matrix fan, I was like, on the level of Star Wars fans.
I think the three of us,
Man.
Can I?
Vicious bought the HD DVD trilogy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah, I got that day one. Oh, can I add one more thing in there?
Sure.
Just since we're talking about campaign, Frankie also did confirm that you do not have to play as an Arbiter at all. You can play the entire game as the Master Chief. The Arbiter is simply a secondary character, so there won't be any levels where you have to play as the Arbiters. Just for people that didn't like the Arbiter. I personally liked the Arbiter, so.
So does that mean you can play as the Arbiter in single player?
Yeah, as your secondary character. Sounds like with co-op.
But you can't. But you can't play as the Arbiter in single player as one person.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. If you're just playing single player, it'll be as the Master Chief.
Okay. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's interesting.
Improved.
Now you mentioned multiplayer.
Yes.
What was it that you saw that we didn't get a chance to see?
Yeah, and this is what they did. They did it in a cool way, which really I think I'm more excited about this than campaign. They showed us the 100% complete save film feature, exactly the way it's going to work when we get our hands on it in September. And the map that they used was Sand Trap, which used to be Shrine, which is the biggest map they've ever done in Halo. And it's a giant desert map. It's completely vehicle focused. And the way Brian was the one that actually conducted this. Frankie took a seat and wiped the sweat off his brow or whatever. But he showed us the save film feature, and it was a game that included himself, Frankie, Luke Smith, and a couple play testers. And the way he did it let me take it from this standpoint before I get into actual save film features. When he started off, they all jumped into a Warthog. Interesting thing I saw to the left and the right of the Warthog. You saw an unnamed vehicle that you couldn't quite make out that looked pretty big that was off to your right, and to your left you saw a Pelican. Now, the interesting thing about the Pelican was normally, like in Halo 2 maps or even in the beta, you'd see a pelican to be like a crash pelican. You can't do anything with it. It was a part of the map. Right. This pelican looked like you could just jump into it and take off. That's the impression I took from it. You know, so I'm in this being this map is huge. So I could realistically see the pelican being used in this map. I'm not confirming that it's being used. That's just an observation that I saw. That this didn't look like a crash because it was sitting where you would get all your vehicles from, like all the warthogs, the brute chopper, and all that type of stuff. Now, during the save film feature, he did show off the brute chopper. Got a really good look at the brute chopper. He did a complete 360 view of it. We got to see everything about it. That thing is going to be a beast. It's going to be a real beast in multiplayer because if you hit a warthog broadside, you split it in half and destroy it.
Wow.
Period. End of discussion. No getting out of it. You're not going to roll over a couple times. You're going to blow up and die if you get hit broadside.
Hey, quick question on that, since we haven't seen any video of it, or at least I haven't. Is the wheel in the front, is that like a saw, or is it actually like a wheel that drives along the ground?
It's like, you know, that's an interesting question because it has the brute chopper has a boost feature which comes out of the back, but it looks almost like a wheel because you use that driving. But as you say, it's almost like a saw because that's what's cutting through everything when you ram it straight ahead.
So, but does it roll along the ground?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Now, how was the mobility here? Was it, pretty agile? Clunky looking, like when he drove it?
Well, like Frankie said, it weighs a ton. It does boost, but yeah, it wasn't like a Ghost where it was very maneuverable. It was almost, if you get a lot of momentum going one way, it's not like you can just immediately turn to your right or left. You kind of swing to your right or left. So that's where being in the Warthog, being faster, you probably can't get away from getting destroyed like that unless you're not paying attention.
Did he use any of the weapons?
Did not. The only thing that they showed us with the brute chopper, he was just showing how powerful it was if you ran the Warthog. I didn't actually get to see it like in a fight.
Okay, cool.
Like going back to the save film features, like I said, the really cool thing about it is you can view a match from anyone's perspective that's in that match. You can detach the camera, move it around, zoom in, zoom out, do whatever you want. You can freeze frame like mid-explosion, like they were showing an explosion where the guy hit, like I think it was like Luke, because he's a camper like that, way up top with the Spartan laser. He hit someone, and you just see the explosion, and they pause it, and you're seeing like all the particle effects and everything that's going on. You could completely do a 360 view of it to look at it. Like I said, with the fact that you can detach the camera, at one point he just did like an overhead view where you're just watching all the carnage from high in the sky, seeing everyone down below.
Nice.
I mean, it was really impressive. The one thing that they mentioned, because this was in multiplayer that I don't know if a lot of people know, you also have the save film feature in campaign. So and you can see, this is a really cool thing. You can edit, like say I want to put together a graded Vicious's greatest hits in Halo. I can go through, edit it any way I want, from any perspective I want, create like my own little film, and I can send it to everybody. You can't edit it. You can only watch it the way that I want you to see it.
Yeah.
And that goes the same with campaign. If you want to view the action from a brute's perspective, you can do that in campaign. If you want to look at Master Chief the entire time from third person view, you can do that. You can't, he said the limitation was you can't detach the camera and kind of just go far away, like to wherever you want. You got to stay in the area that the Master Chief is in. That's like the only limitation. But here's the other cool thing. As long as you have the hard drive space, you basically could film from level 1 until the very end of your campaign and send it to anyone you want.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
So you can do speed runs.
Yeah. You could do. It's like limitless what you can do. And obviously, he was saying this is going to be huge for the machinima guys. It's like almost like a no-brainer.
Definitely.
You can take you can take screenshots with the camera, upload them to Bungie.net, all kinds of things.
Now, I got a few questions on that. Now, this is a little bit more fine-grained. Now, can you did you see the interface on how the film system works?
They did show it to us, and I'll just say before I get into that, one thing that we did see on that feature was something called Forge.
Okay.
For those of you out there that have been doing your homework, you might know what Forge is already, but we saw that. They did not comment on it. But the save film feature, it looks similar to what we saw in the beta. It's just obviously there's a little more meat and bones to it as far as what you can, pause, rewind, send the Bungie.net, send to your friends, save, all that type of stuff. But everyone already has a general idea of how it looks because it's very similar to what we saw in the beta.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool because when I make my awesome montage, I'm gonna make sure that Vicious and Tony Hines are in the opposite team.
Hey, Tony G, don't talk about Tony G. You have a pistachio. You have a pistachio head in your bed. Oh, one thing I left out because you were talking about weapons before, and like I said, I did see one weapon that I didn't see in campaign. That was a gravity hammer, and I did not get to see it in use. And Brian would say, it was like we saw it a couple times. Brian would say, "Oh, look at that hammer that I'm not going to talk about," and then that's it. But we did see it a couple times. It is in multiplayer. That is confirmed.
Now, how big was this hammer?
Nice.
It's just like it's the same exact hammer that Tartarus or any of the chieftains are holding. It's that big. I mean, it towers over you.
So it's what, like 6-7 feet tall?
Yeah, it's huge.
Or assuming that what is the Master Chief, like what, 7-8 feet tall or something like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's even bigger than him, right?
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, it's bigger than the Chief.
Dang.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't get to see it used. I just saw someone hold it a couple times. And that was it.
Now the reason JVB and I aren't, like going, whoa, because like Vicious was saying, those of you that have done your homework on this already know a little bit about this. But for the record, we're not going to comment on things that haven't been published in a certain magazine until that magazine is out, for the reasons that we don't want to get sued. So
right.
Fair enough, right?
But I mean, just in my opinion, as I was sitting there and Brian's explaining all this to us, just going through my head was like, wow, this is really going to change the way, and he said it himself, this is really going to change the way people play Halo, because I'm at best an average player. I am by no means a great player at all, and those of you who play with me know that. But what he said is this, with these save film features, it's going to allow you to basically scout the people that are beating you all the time. It's like, what is his tendencies? Where is he going first to get a weapon? How did he sneak up behind me and assassinate me? You're going to be able to get better by watching these films, and it's true, because I also just say, just during the beta, I would go back and watch my matches, and it helped. It was like, okay, I did this wrong. Okay, I did that wrong. I better do this next time. And now the fact that you can, like, if JVB is constantly poning me with the sniper rifle, I can go from JVB's perspective and see what he's doing first. Where is he going? Where's he perched at with the sniper rifle, and know what his tendencies are. You know what I mean? And when you're doing the teabag, and I can freeze frame that and do all that too.
Now can you like make like little cut sections that do different camera angles and things like that?
Yes. Okay. Yes, you can be a direct. That, like Brian said, you're your own director. Wow. Do it from your own angles, cut it the way you want, anything, and then you can send that to someone, and they can't change it. They have to watch it the way that you edited it.
Now, is this also going to be available on a Bungie.net? Like you can, when you send it to someone. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the way that works, if I remember correctly, say I upload a bunch of films to Bungie.net that, like, just say I'm like this badass Halo player. Little Johnny can go on to Bungie.net, look under my gamer tag, grab the films that I've made public, and when he goes to his 360, he tags them on Bungie.net. When he goes home to his 360, he'll automatically download those films, and he can watch them on his 360. And then he'll be able to, move the camera around and see all the stuff that I'm doing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing some of that implemented in Forza 2 already.
Right.
So I'm sure they kind of use that as a a platform to build upon. But wow, adding video features now and being able to tag them.
Yeah, and,
from a remote location.
That is way cool that you can tag something and it downloads your 360 when you sign on, dude.
Oh, and I'll say this too, because Frankie said it, so I can say this. He did say that the quote-unquote forge feature is going to be just as big, if not bigger, within Halo 3. So like I said, if you've done your homework, you know what forge is. Yeah. He didn't tell me what forge was. He just said it would be just as big as the save film feature.
Yeah, I mean, I've read what forge is, but I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, it's I mean, from what I read about it, and I didn't sit down and analyze what I was reading. I just read a little bit and just passed by because I didn't want to spoil too many things for myself. But yeah, I mean, I have to agree with Frankie there. That's definitely going to add another layer of just longevity to the game.
For sure. You guys check out EGM, Electronic Gaming Monthly, which is a physical magazine, on August 11th. That's going to be the September issue. It's going to have all the details about Forge, including a lot of stuff about a bunch of unnamed stuff that we haven't talked about yet. And of course, a lot of the stuff Vicious has talked about and going into detail about a lot of that stuff as well. So be sure to check that out on your newsstands, man. That's going to be a groundbreaking issue, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, so Vicious, the size of this map, Sandtrap. Now, I know in the latest podcast, Bungie podcast, they kind of goofed on, there was a saying that it was the biggest, map ever created, something like that. But they were goofing on something that was quoted or misquoted. I mean, how big would you say was that map? I mean, is it huge?
Like a half mile square, a mile square?
Where walking would be impossible to do? Like walking from one side to the other? Or?
Yeah, I think. See, it's hard to say because they did it they were constantly freezing frame and moving the camera around, so it's hard to get a complete scope.
Right.
Take the beta. Let's take Valhalla. I would probably say it's at least Valhalla plus another half of Valhalla, at least, and then take out all the mountains and stuff, all the hills. It's just this big, giant desert playground with all these vehicles just running around, shooting and blowing up stuff. And there were these two tall structures on either side where you're going to see, obviously there are going to be some flying vehicles involved in this too, where that's going to, plus there's tons of Spartan lasers all around. I mean, it's a map that's like they said, it's made for vehicles. Not only is it so big, but if you're on foot, unless you got a Spartan laser, you're just going to get pwned immediately.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. So it's gigantic. I mean, I don't want to just say, it's 3 times the size of Valhalla or something, because it was too hard to say because they were constantly freezing the camera, just showing it around.
Yeah,
so,
they didn't get you didn't get to feel the full scale. Like they didn't drive from one end to the other. Okay.
Right. Yeah, they did not do that. So I didn't get to time it or anything.
Now you mentioned there was bases at both ends. Are there actually borders on the opposite ends?
I want to make it clear. It wasn't like bases that were like, okay, you got the base on the far end, and you got a base on the far end. There was just 2 tall structures. For as far as I know, they could have been in the middle of the map.
Okay.
There's just 2 structures because when they were showing examples of people using the Spartan laser and people not paying attention and getting blown up, people would be standing on top of one of those tall structures. But like I said, the way they were moving the camera, it's hard to place exactly where they were on the map. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Tricky.
So what was your overall impression once you guys left the behind the scenes?
This is what my first thinking was. I was like, is there like a big meat locker somewhere where I could just kind of freeze myself, and maybe I would call JVB on the phone and be like, hey man, unthaw me about September 23rd and make sure I'm okay. Because I mean, I'm ready to play this game. Bottom line, see, that's the funny thing about Frankie, especially not so much Brian, but Frankie. It's like Frankie looks at you and he knows. He's like, oh yeah, I play Halo 3 all the time, and you don't. That's right. I know it. You don't. You know what I mean? He had that smirk on his face. But it's everything for Halo fans. It's everything that we're gonna want. I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed because they're taking the multiplayer features to another level. They're adding this camera in. We're getting all these new vehicles, new weapons. Like I said, the campaign, just the one little 20 minutes we saw was just ridiculous. So, yeah. No, go ahead.
So, from what you've seen from the, I mean, how long was the total demonstration?
Probably all together, God, it felt like we're in there like an hour, but I would say at least about a half hour, maybe.
Okay, so from what you saw, do you feel they did enough to gather new fans?
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that, if you're a first-person shooter fan and you even halfway know what Halo is, I don't see how you could pass it up. And they didn't even show us any. I mean, when you really think about it, they didn't show us anything. They showed us just a teeny tiny little bit of what to expect. They didn't spoil anything. I mean, we didn't get to see any of the new weapons in action. The only new vehicle we got to see, and like I said, that was limited, was the Brute Chopper. We didn't get to see, like, how powerful. Yeah. Get on the chopper. That was it, man. So, I mean, let's put it to you like this. I don't know what your opinion was, but I know for me, they could take that beta, wrap it up in a package and sell it to me, and I would buy it and play it all day. And we got to see some of the new armor. I forgot to mention it. We got to see some of the new, we got to see some of the new armor. I mean,
no. I got a question about this real quick. Is it the armor that we've already seen in previous? Yes. Okay. So it's all permutations that we've already seen.
Yes, it was nothing new. See, this is once again.
But you saw it in action.
Spoil anything. Yeah, we got to see it in action. I mean, it looks sweet. It looks like what they're going to do. It's going to be something that you earn throughout multiplayer. So it's almost like another layer of showing your experience in the game.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So it's like, when I see JVB with all this crazy black armor with the gold belt and the big afro helmet, I know he's been playing it for a long time,
Man, you got an afro helmet? Where'd you get that at, man?
Sweet. Well, one. But so seeing that and just, man, I mean, it's, like I said, it's like, they just showed us things that we already know, and I'm just salivating over the game. It's like, and there's still tons of stuff to find out.
Now, your excitement, okay? I mean, you sound like a little giddy schoolgirl, who saw, Marky Mark for the first time back in the day.
Yeah.
But
good vibrations, man.
Step by step,
sweet Dixie shine.
That was pretty bad, dude.
I know, man. Not even close. That's why I'm not Marky Mark.
Okay, your excitement, is it based off all the hype from waiting, or is the game actually meeting the hype? I mean, we'll do, in your opinion, there's a lot of people out there saying, perfect example, the argument you guys had at Uncle Gamer, you and Robbie, a.k.a. Liquid Life, who said that, the Halo franchise was built off hype, and that's all, but, that's for another show. Do you feel that it's going to live up to the hype that we've, the gaming community has put upon it?
I think it's going to live up to the hype, because who amongst Halo fans did not like the beta? And when you really think about the beta, all that was just a bumped up Halo 2. That wasn't even real Halo 3. I mean, they gave us the assault rifle and they gave us the mongoose. That was it. You know what I mean? So imagine getting this Brute Chopper. Imagine getting these save films. Imagine all the different new armor they're going to have. I mean, I'm just talking just strictly multiplayer here. All the new maps that are coming out. I mean, we've seen the remake of Zanzibar, how that's going to be upgraded. I mean, just that alone is going to be worth your $60 at launch. And then throw in this new campaign. The Arbiter's coming back as a secondary character. The graphics are just insane. All these big new vehicles and everything they're going to throw in. It's going to meet that. It's going to, I think, and this might be the Halo fanboy in me talking right now, but I'm on Podtacular, so I can do this. I think is going to surpass the hype, personally. My personal opinion. Because I went into the beta thinking, oh man, this better be good. This better be good. And I was like, I'll never forget the very first match I played, and I'm firing the assault rifle, and it just felt right. It felt like Halo. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It feels like Halo 1 to me.
Yep.
Which is the big thing. I feel like I'm playing Combat Evolved with flashy new graphics, and I think that's going to be the biggest selling point to it. I mean, not that Halo 2 is a bad multiplayer game, but they've even admitted they screwed up on a few things, and it looks like Halo 3 they fixed them, and that's the biggest thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and new hardware. They had the gameplay down packed.
Mm-hmm.
Performance. And I mean, from what you're telling me, with everything going on in the background, all the nice lighting effects, added weapons and vehicles, and I mean, just listening to you, I mean, you and I have talked about it since you saw it, and yeah, I'm like, wow, I can't wait. I'm not one to say I can't. I wish September 25th was here, but I find myself thinking that way,
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's like, as I'm sitting here talking about it, it makes me start thinking about what I saw, and I just get excited, That's the thing. It's like, I mean, from all the games I saw at E3, Mass Effect probably only surpassed my excitement factor, and that's like just because it's something completely brand new. Mm-hmm. Whereas I know what I'm going to get with Halo, but it's like, wow, you can tell that these guys have been busting their tail for 3 years on this, and we're getting the payoff. I mean, it's going to have the graphics. It's going to have so far, it looks like they're going to have the weapons balanced properly. And, there's so many, they put the new equipment in. I mean, that's going to change everything. And I keep going back to these saved films, but I don't know why. I'm just so excited about them. I can't wait. Cannot wait to get my hands on that.
Because, if you're in the know about machinima, it's easy to find them. But for those people that might have heard of machinima before, and they don't really want to go searching to through the internet to watch somebody make a movie on a based off a video game or whatever. But now it's going to be easily accessible. So I might have a guy on my friends list who's never seen a machinima before, and I can say, yo, look what I put together here, and he could be interested. He could start doing his own thing, and then somebody could make like a super montage of like one of the elite players, and who knows, maybe he'll get into it. I mean, there's possibilities there for like extra growth.
For sure,
yeah,
man.
For sure. I completely agree.
Well, thanks a lot, Vicious. Appreciate you.
Will get a lot easier.
Oh, yeah, for real, man.
Hey, well, thank you for having me on, because I mean, I was just excited to talk about it. I'm glad I got to talk about it so everybody can hear it.
Sweet.
Now, why don't you tell us what's going on at UncleGamer.com?
I mean, we're still just doing our thing, as the tagline is, for furious debate, come over to UncleGamer.com, because it seems like that's all we do is argue about something. But coming up on our next episode, I'm obviously going to get a lot into E3, and I think you're going to be a guest host on there, so that'll be good.
Yeah.
And just keep our thing. I mean, it's just crazy with all that's going on right now with gaming, because I mean, you guys just talk about Halo, but we talk about everything: PC, PlayStation, Nintendo, 360, all of it. So just all these new games that I got to see at E3. If you're a gamer right now, and I told this to Peter Moore, even though he bounced on me, Uncle Peter, when I got to interview him, I was telling him that, you look there's a 45-day window from when Madden comes out until, I think Grand Theft Auto 4, whatever the days are, just around there, like 40-something days. There's like 10 just top quality AAA gotta have games that are coming out. And my question to Peter Moore is, how can you expect people to, number one, afford all these games, and to, number two, have enough time to play them? Because then, even after that window goes, you get a couple-week break, then you're going to have like a Call of Duty 4, Mass Effect, The Lost Odyssey. All these games are coming out, and that's just on the 360. That's not even talking about the other ones. It's insane. If you're a gamer right now, this is a really great time
you're gonna be
a gamer. Yeah, you're dead broke.
Yeah, because I'm looking forward to Call of Duty 4. At least to hold me down till Halo 3.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of different games, Laird and Fumo will be discussing their experience with Skate from EA.
Yeah, man.
And, quickly, Fumo, just to get a little bit of insight of how it was to actually be in one of these events for the first time. I mean, just briefly, how did you feel, getting to one of these events and then flying down, free of charge?
It was great, man. Obviously, for that matter, but really, I've been a skater for like 15 years, and really enjoy skateboarding, and have kind of been about past skateboarding games, and I was interested to see how this goes, especially since I've understood that this is going to be the most realistic skateboarding game ever. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, about Laird and I, about what we thought about it, because Laird lives in Vancouver, and I was flown up there to check it out and got to meet him out there. And we both went to the community event for Skate, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we thought about the entire game altogether. And I'm telling you, this may not have a direct correlation to Halo fans, but really I think this is one of the best games of the year to come out, and we're going to talk a little bit about why. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. Alright, well, hey Laird, welcome back to the show again, man. Wow, past 3 shows now, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's starting to become a habit. We should encourage this habit, feed it. But yes, there you go. I'm back again, and we're talking, I guess, about the Skate EA community event.
Right. Now, I got flown out there to check it out in Vancouver, and you live out there.
That's
so,
correct.
Fortunately, you were able to attend too. And
Yes.
Can you give us kind of some impressions of the event first, and then we'll talk about the game?
Sure. Well, I got to meet Fumo for the first time. He's a great guy. Anybody that says otherwise is not smart in the head. We got to hang out with a lot of our peers, so that's gamers, that were adults, not kids. Not that there's anything wrong with kids, but we got to hang out with gamers are in our age group. We had a lot of fun interacting with them. At least I did. I don't know. What about you, Fumo?
Oh yeah, man, it was cool. It was a good time. It was way cool to meet Laird, and man, Vancouver's an amazing city, man. I'm so pumped about it. I want to move there. It's just so great. But had a great time, kind of cruising around the city, and head to different places for dinner and stuff that EA was nice enough to cover and everything for the whole gang that was there. And they were put us up in a nice hotel and all that good stuff, and we got a bunch of different kind of a tour of their studio where they work on Skate. There's 140 people that have been working on Skate for the past 3 years, and it's a pretty big production, and it was really cool to see kind of like the central processing area or whatever you want to call it for the whole deal for that game. And a lot of skaters in there. A lot of people had Skate posters and their boards like leaning against their cubicles and
Chairs.
stuff like that. So it was really neat, and they had an amazing view, of course, from the top, which I was like agape looking at it, man. While they were still talking about the game, and I was just like, oh my gosh, look at this view, looking out over this bay, and there was snow-capped mountains in the distance, and all over downtown and on the 19th floor, and oh wow.
Yep. I want to say a big thank you to Marcus, Ben, and Rita, and the rest of the EA crew. It was a great, fun time.
Definitely. Thank you very much, guys. Hey, speaking of, Skate now, so let's get a little bit to talk about our gameplay session. We had a couple of pretty long gameplay sessions with the game, interspersed between different presentations talking about the features of the game. Now, myself, I've been skating for like 15 years, and I really enjoy this game. I mean, a lot of us have played like Tony Hawk games in the past, right? And I had mixed experiences with them. I played them because that's all there was out there, and especially being a skater. But I found a lot of things frustrating about Tony Hawk. I think the biggest thing that Skate addresses is the frustrating thing about Tony Hawk is like you're skating and you go to pull a trick. So to pull a trick, you basically just have to do like a button combo, kind of like a Mortal Kombat fatality. So to do a kickflip, you just got to do like down X or something, right? So then you just basically doing a bunch of tricks is just a matter of memorizing a bunch of tricks and becoming Encyclopedia Skateboardia, and that's not like skateboarding at all. Like skateboarding, it's not just like, okay, what do I do to do a kickflip? Oh yeah, kick and kick. All right, got it. You still have to have the skill to be able to land the kickflip and to pay attention to what you're doing and things like that. And Skate does a really good job. Can you explain a little bit about how they do that, Laird?
Yes, you use the right trigger. I guess it's the right analog stick. You hold down and for half a second, then you press up to an ollie. And with different combinations, like when you're holding down with the right analog stick and up, if you do like to the upper right hand corner, you can do a kick flip or sorry, I don't know many of these. Not being a skater myself, cool. I don't know many of the trick names, but you can do a lot of tricks just by simple tricks by using the one analog stick. When you use the other analog stick, the left one, in combination with the right analog stick, you can actually do a lot of simple tricks without actually having to hit the buttons. And I found it quite easy to pick up. Playing Tony Hawk only a few times in a few of his games, I found Skate to be a more enriching experience with the wide open areas, and the little skate park that they actually have is pretty intuitive and teaches you how to play the game. Like within 10 or 15 minutes of picking up the game, you'll be able to at least do simple tricks like grinds and ollies and grabbing your board and just simple tricks. I mean, then you can just gradually, as your skill improves, go out into the city and start doing crazy tricks. Let's see.
You're talking about the city. One of the cool things they have going on is they have this massive city that instead of being like a small confined area that you are in different stages with Tony Hawk, you're actually like put in the middle of this city that takes like 10-15 minutes to skate across if you skate full speed from one end to the other.
And if you know your way, yeah, that's right. And it's based on San Francisco, San Van Apollo.
You mean San Vanalona?
Yes, which is 3 cities: San Francisco, Vancouver, and Barcelona over in Spain. It's a combination of all 3 cities. It's great. I especially love seeing parts of my city, Vancouver, in the game that I can recognize and skate. I mean, Tony Hawk did put Vancouver in a long time ago, but it was a little tiny section of the city, and it was just like not really well detailed like EA's Skate is.
One of the things I like about like the environments in Skate is that it doesn't feel like it's a contrived skate park, the entire world. And that's something that Tony Hawk was like, what the heck, I'm walking down the street and there's a freaking quarter pipe on the side of the road, and there's a rail and all this stuff, and it's like, this isn't gonna be in real life, But this feels like more like street skating. There's gaps, there's the occasional thing that you can somehow ramp off of. There's there's curbs, there's rails, there's all kinds of different stuff. There's stair sets, stuff that skaters would normally skate on street. So it makes it a lot less contrived and feel actually more like street skating.
Yeah, one of the things that I really liked in the game, since we're speaking of the world, is how non-playable characters interacted with your skate character. Like, if you're skating on the sidewalk and you're headed towards some people, they actually can, if you're hardcore skating and you hear the wheels going, spinning, and the people in front of you hear you coming, they get out of the way, and, and they yell at you. And same thing with like the security guards. If they hear you doing tricks and there's security around, they come over and knock you off your board and tell you to get the hell out of there. I thought that was really great. That sound interacts with the other the non-playable characters in the game.
Definitely. And speaking of non-playable characters, it's cool too how as you're skating around you see other skaters and they're like skating in some direction or something. But what's interesting is they're not just like there as ambient other characters. They're actually skating somewhere. when you see them skating, they're actually going to a skate spot. So if you follow them, you'll actually end up at like some cool skate spot, and you can like do tricks with them and stuff, and have them lead you to other spots and things like that. And it's just really cool how there's more to it than just the just having scenery in the whole deal. It's something to it. So they also, I mean, well, first of all, we're both Halo fans, and I think, I mean, I'm not, I don't usually buy the next Tony Hawk game as soon as it comes out or anything like that, so I'm not necessarily all that into skate games as much as I am into actual skateboarding. But this is like, well, first of all, I think this is like the skateboarder's skate game, like the kind that a skateboarder would like really enjoy, But also, I think a lot of, especially like the community features, are something that is really going to appeal to Halo fans as well. In kind of it's a really it's a really big difference from like a first-person shooter, sci-fi game to something like this, but it still has a lot of cool features in it that would, I think, be cool.
Like being a non-skater, and just a gamer, as I picked up the game, and I said within 10 minutes, I actually was enjoying playing the game and left the skate park and headed all the way down to one of the areas that unfortunately we can't name, but it was really fun, skating through the whole city and just doing little tricks off the cars and off the, off certain objects and just like skating. It was just kind of nice, like you said, just the skateboard like freestyle and just skate off any old thing. There wasn't any, hey, we need to go, like you said, half pipe, off the side of the road or whatever. There are certain things like that in the game, but I just like the whole openness of the game, and it was really fun just to pick up and play, and I could see myself buying this game, being even a non-skater. It was just really immersive. It was a new experience compared to Tony Hawk.
Cool. Yeah, and there's like objectives and stuff too, and it's more open-ended, but you can also just skip all that and go skate, which is kind of cool. And one of the things that was really awesome about the game is the video features. And what's cool about that, first of all, is that like they have this really cool video support, which we're going to talk about in a second. The reason it's cool, I think, is because of how difficult it is to pull off the moves. Because you have to to do a grind or a rail slide or something like that. Board slide, you have to line it up. There's no like slide button to easily clamp onto a rail and just keep your balance or anything like that. You have to like line it up and just land on it the right way, and then you'll do that kind of slide.
And if you don't ollie, you can fall off your board real easy, and just like in real life, it's not just I just thought when you hit a curb, it just like if you don't prep your board properly, you wipe out and you can get injured really easy.
Yep. But they have this video. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Laird?
Sorry, the video that's on game trailers?
No. I mean the video capability within Skate.
Oh, where you're able to record
replay.
The replay, yes. Where you have the object is to basically you do your best trick, and you can have one camera guy, and you go off and skate, and you do your best trick, and this guy takes pictures, and you can like make your own kind of skate video, like in real life.
Well, sort of. Sorry. I guess more what I'm talking about is like any time while you're skating, like all the time while you're skating, it's actually recording a replay. So you can like pause and go to the replay menu, and you can just kind of rewind to a point where you just landed or just started off this cool trick, and then get it to the end point where you landed it, and then you can set up like different cut points so that you have different segments of this video, right? And then you can have like different camera angles in the different segments. You can have different speeds. You can have different camera effects like black and white and fish lens and stuff like that. And you can make your own skate videos right there. But the coolest thing about it is that you can actually share them with other skaters, both on EA Skate and online. Once you upload it, it generates a Flash video file and then uploads it to the web, and it's available on the web instantly, so people can check it out. And you can have so you can like view on skate.ea.com or something like that. Can view
that's ea.skate.com.
ea.skate.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can view like the top skate videos,
clip of the day.
top rated, or you can the most popular or whatever it is, things like that. Some of the coolest YouTube style skate videos out there.
That's right.
As well as you have in the same interface from within the game. So it looks really sweet, man. I mean, that kind of thing, especially being able to, because that's what a lot of skating is about too. People just taking videos, throwing them up on YouTube, or just or a lot of the skating when it becomes amateur and professional skating. A lot of that has to do with video. So it really brings that into the culture and makes it feel more of like kind of a more of what skating is. It's about getting your reputation up ultimately, and as a goal in the game.
And once you do that, you get invited into those non-playable character areas, like certain secret unlockable areas.
Right, like pros, backyard skate parks and like Danny Wade's Park and stuff like that.
Pools and warehouses and things like that.
Yeah. So definitely, man. Looks like an exciting game, and of course you can skate with your friends and stuff like that. The extent of that we're not totally sure, but because we didn't get to actually test out the Xbox Live
features, yeah. But
we did skate locally, and we were able to check it out that way. So there's different competitions and stuff. We know that much, but it looks.
Some of those competitions were really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, can't say nothing. I'd love to, but it was pretty awesome. Especially
really
that board you won, dude.
Yeah, man. I won this one competition. I won a free deck and wheels and stuff. It was pretty sweet. I've actually been riding on the wheels a lot. It's really cool. So yeah, another thing that's really cool is the Hall of Meat that we got to check out, which is a really weird kind of thing, because it's actually a competition to try to take the most damage that you can. Apparently it originally came from Thrasher magazine, so it's not like something they made up that's like really bizarre. It actually, like, Thrasher had a feature in the magazine, right?
That's right. Whoever got the best wounds of the month or whatever, best battle scar, best kind of like, broken arm, broken whatever, gashes, show it showed that you were like, you're paying your dues for the sport you love.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Now, I understand you won a competition on this, right, Laird?
Yeah, one of the competitions that we had in the little community was who can get the most, who can sustain the worst injuries. What happened was there was one guy that was beating me. He I don't know where he jumped off of, but he had a face plant, a ouchie, which is the crushed pelvis, 3 springs. His legs are complete, so 4 broken bones. His legs are gone, and I think he had 3 springs. So what I did was I tried to, in the area that I was skateboarding, I found the highest point in the map that I could get to in this competition time, and that was a 4-story parking lot, 4-story level parking lot, and I found an open area where I could jump off on the 3rd level, in between the 3rd and the 4th, like on one of the curling, swerving ramps that you go up and down on, and I managed to, after several attempts, I came close to this guy's record, but then I did a jump, and I did a 360 and landed head first on the 2nd level, tumbled off that level, hit this like little cement volcano-looking thing in the middle of the ground floor, bounced off that, slid for about, I don't know, I'd guess maybe 10 or 15 feet, it looks like, and then did some end-over-end cartwheels. I got faceplant, a crushed groin, so an ouchie. My legs were completely broken, so I had five broken bones in the lower section. I had 4 broken ribs. My hands were spraying, my wrists were spraying, like basically the whole body was just gone. Like I think the only parts of the body that weren't
my wrists. Basically, I was just screwed.
Except for like the shoulders and a few of my ribs. The legs were completely screwed. Like those were broken. Ribs were broken because I bounced a couple times off concrete. I had a few bruises too. But
so
basically, a hat,
cool.
A nice skater hat. Yeah, I'm not sure what it says on it. I'll have to go look.
Nice. Well, cool, man. Yeah, I was trying to get that too. I was going into oncoming traffic down a hill under a Under a.
I tried that too.
Oh yeah,
It wasn't
under an
working.
overpass.
Yeah, I was trying to hit a. Yeah.
The cars slow down though when they see you. They don't come to an instant stop, but they slow down and come to a stop. So you have to like go like in another lane, and then you have to like swerve into their lane real quick. So
I was trying to jump off the overpass, but I couldn't find the way up onto it.
Jump off into oncoming traffic. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it makes another interesting competition. It's kind of fun to mess around with.
It's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna beat this guy to death more than you can. Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna do this, and you just abuse your characters.
Yeah, right.
I think it would be kind of neat if you are playing in a mode like maybe one of our suggestions for the game is maybe they'll implement it is if they could implement if you're playing like a competition where you sustain injuries like bruises or whatever, anything as long as it's not broken, it kind of like detracts from your movement, to make it realistic since they're going for realistic skating. Mm-hmm. So if you bruise a hand, it's bruised, you get limited function. The object obviously is to break it or spraying it or whatever. I just think it would be kind of neat to have like real physical damage on the skater, like obviously only in this competition.
Yeah.
And
one thing they were talking about that kind of stuff though is like people were talking about if you break your board, it's actually broken and you got to go buy a new one. You got to walk to the store, or if you lose your board, you have to go chase after it and things like that. They were talking about like the boundary between realism and fun. Like
exactly
breaking your board and losing it and having to go buy another one. That's no fun, man.
No.
So
no, but I'm talking just like in like a little game competition, like say on Xbox Live or
yeah.
something. It's like Meat Shield is the game, right? And say I went into oncoming traffic, but I bruised my knees, but didn't break them or sprain them. So instead of having the ability to go full speed, while doing some push-offs, right? I should only have half speed, or I can only do one push-off or something like that. That's what I meant, something like that. And it's only for that, mini game that you play.
That's cool. Well, anyway, let's see. What would you give this game altogether on a 1 to 10 scale, Laird?
From what we've played, I mean, I don't know if we saw everything, but from what I played, I'd say at least an 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be EA's second biggest game. First, of course, is going to be Army of Two, but that's only my opinion. But I think this will be EA's biggest selling non-shooter or kind of like sports game. I guess skateboarding is considered a sport.
Yeah.
I think it'll be one of the biggest sellers this year for them.
Definitely, man. I gotta say, I give it about a 9. I mean, from a skater's perspective, this is definitely the best skateboarding game I've ever seen. And, it's something that gets me excited to, like, play a skateboarding game again, and not just, like, try to memorize a bunch of button combos to remember moves, but actually makes the moves a little difficult. Like, for instance, a 360 flip, you have to do this quarter turn, like, first facing down on the right stick, facing straight down, and then curving around to your left until it's about a 45-degree angle down to the left, and then going the opposite direction, flicking across the stick so that it's like a 45-degree angle top and right. So it's kind of like a tricky move that you got to get both the directions on all of those just right to be able to pull the trick, and it makes it difficult. And that kind of thing in combination with gaps and grinds and stuff like that, all being
and all the little
to chain
things
together
in the back alleys and stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes it challenging to do, and challenging to do videos and challenging to do the whole thing. So it just makes a lot of fun to just be able to like go skate with your friends and stuff and just say, oh, that was a sweet trick, man, good job, stuff like that. So definitely looking forward to this game when it comes out.
Yep. Me too. Like I said, freestyle skating, and it's not all objective based. Obviously there is objective, but the object of the game is to go out there and explore the huge world that they have.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thanks, Laird. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Thanks for having me again.
All Alright, so wrapping it up, sending your comments, etc. to podtacular@gmail.com would depend on your submissions to keep the show going. This show we didn't have listener input, but generally we have that as a rule on Podtacular. Keep an eye on podtacular.com for an invitation to send in stuff for next week's show.
You can call our listener voicemail at 206-888-HALO. That is 206-888-HALO. And leave a Halo-related message. We play these back on the Customs and Call-In show. And that is 206-888-HALO for those who wanted me to know.
And be sure to check out JVB and Fumo over at Podtacular.com. And while you're there, make sure to check out their forums. There's a lot of buzz going about Halo 3 and other stuff.
Thanks to all the people who contribute to Podtacular, whether it's working on the community or site, contributing to our PayPal to help out with the hosting bill, or subscribing to the show and reviewing us in iTunes. We couldn't do it without you.
No way.
And also, don't forget to check out the other shows from the GamerCast Network. Of course, the Video Game Show over at videogameshow.org and Gamertag Radio at gamertagradio.com. And, of course, my show, Uncle Gamer Radio at unclegamer.com.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, I'm Fumo Jive.
I'm JVB in his house.
And this is Vicious696. I got to see Halo.
Ah.
You suck.
That's why we're going to go over to your house. Beat you up.
Yeah, man. Beat it out of your
Thanks
brain.
for being on, man. Thanks for sharing the information. And, if you happen to remember anything else, don't be afraid to let us know.
And if you see any trucks, make sure to frag them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, skateboarding.
Yeah, I know.
There's only one thing left to say.
Yeah.
And thanks to all the people that contribute to Podtacular, whether it's working on the community or screwed it up. Shit. Sorry.
All right, I'll do that one.
Yeah, I'll do the one after.
All right. Thanks to all the people that contribute to Podtacular, whether it's working on the communities or...
See?
Dude, you jinxed us, man.
I think you should do this one full. By the time I get
Alright,
to
third
there,
time's a charm, right? Here we go.
Yeah, bro.
Thanks to all the people that contribute to Podtacular, whether it's working on the community or site, contributing to our PayPal to help out with the hosting bill, which comes in every month, or subscribing to the show and reviewing us on iTunes. We couldn't do it without you.
And don't forget to check the other shows.
This is great.
Hold on, let me do it again.
No, I'll just start from mine actually, because I screwed up.
GamerCastNetwork.com